walking between the lines. It is Thursday, June the 27th, and we are here tonight, Sabra and I, to talk about the debate that's coming on in 2 hours. The formats have changed. Everything's changed. If you haven't been paying attention, but you're going to tune in, we're going to give you a little look into how things have changed and what's going to go on tonight, the best we can. I've talked to some senators and House people today, and basically a lot of people in Atlanta, not a lot in the room, but a lot in Atlanta. Everybody's mad about something. And we're going to talk about the difference in the rules. Welcome, Sabra. I got 3 housekeeping issues. Number 1, the Tennessee baseball team is national champions.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Our own Billy Oden, who graduated in 1971, played third base and started there. The last Oak Ridgers to start in continuous years for the University of Tennessee baseball. I know Matt Bailey is thrilled. Tennessee Tech shortstop, who's good friends of our family, and some others. So we're just really, really excited about that. Second note, we had a food drive this week. First one annual. Elected officials chip in, donate food. I went out and facilitated. I thought it'd be a good idea to get a lot of people. Turned out it was a lot of work, and I'm happy that we did it. But we had, I think, 23 or 4 elected officials. You probably know the number, chip in, and we had over 1,500 items, and over $5,000 was donated to St. Joseph's Pantry in Oak Ridge. So it was just fantastic, and I want to thank all the officials, especially Circuit Judge Ryan Spitzer and Daniel Forster, our new chancellor-elect, who drove pickup trucks, unloaded, did all kinds of extra work to help us get through it. You've seen maybe pictures on the internet. They were fantastic. And I want to thank Sharon Gleason and Sean Gleason for anchoring it. They got us going with a large contribution, and we really appreciate them and all that they've done. And you too, Sabra.
Thanks.
A lot you've done. So here we go. Everybody knows, and those of you who don't, this show is sponsored by State Representative John Reagan, who's running for re-election, and John has done a wonderful job in Nashville as a conservative, and his opponent is Rick Scarborough, who's a friend of ours, and so there's a lot of things going on, not a lot of action on the August ballot, but we're very pleased. And going back to Sean Gleason and to Susanna Navarro and to others who have sponsored this show, we really appreciate all that they do, and the gas company and others. So we're very pleased. The debate starts at what time, Sabra?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. You can turn it. It's on CNN. That much I've learned this week. So being active and having a lot of work to do, I haven't followed as close as Sabra has. So it's 9 o'clock. They're going to debate. What I know is it's on CNN, and it's in Atlanta. That's their headquarters, CNN headquarters. Been there a few times. So that's going to happen. It's going to happen. But we're used to the history of before you were born. When I was 6 years old, they had a debate in 1960. I remember what is now our sunroom was a screened-in porch, right? And it was October, so it was mild. Our weather's cooler. So I remember my family being out on that porch with guests from next door watching the Kennedy-Nixon debate when I was 5 years old or 6 years old. I can't remember exactly. 5 years old. So it was wonderful. It was exciting. But they went up to the podium. They were asked questions. They went back and forth. It was pretty civil. Not so much anymore.
No.
There's not much civility left. So, and that goes on all sides in different debates and different things. What can we look for tonight, Say? What's changed?
No live audience, so that's the first time since 1960 that they have not had a live audience. First time was with Kennedy and Nixon.
Why?
At Biden's request, so no live audience.
Okay, so no live audience at Joe Biden's request, President Biden's request. Another thing is our independent candidate will not be there.
He will not. He did not qualify. And from my understanding, he did not qualify for the September 10th debate as well.
And what's qualifications mean?
Well, there's a packet that they have to fill out of meeting the criteria, just like sometimes when you go to a different state and you want to get on the ballot. So Kennedy's not going to be on some of those ballots because he didn't qualify.
So it's not necessarily targeted to Kennedy, but might have been, but the criteria he didn't qualify, nor did anyone else qualify for, because there's always 30 people on the ballot, right? So, I mean, that's where we're at on that. So I understand shorter time periods. What are we going to see?
They will have time limits on there. Interesting thing is they are not allowed to talk to any of their campaign staff during any of the breaks. So they're just going to be there. No pre-written notes. They are not allowed to come in. They're going to be given apparently a pad of paper, pencil, and a bottle of water. Right down what the other guy says. Okay. So that's going to be taking place, and they have to stand the entire time.
And I understand that the Democrats were a little bit upset about that.
Apparently, the Biden campaign wanted Biden to be able to sit. I guess they
Understand.
wanted the table format, and they're not going to
If I
allow
was 81,
that.
I'd want to sit too. I got it. All right. So age is an issue there. Not that Donald Trump turned 78, but he looks to be, I say this with total objectivity, he looks to be a little healthier than Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's an issue for what we're doing and where we're going.
And then their mics will be cut off. So they're not going to be allowed to talk over each other. The mics are going to be cut off now.
So 2 minutes and I hit a button and you're done.
Yes, the mic's cut.
Okay. And when Donald Trump is talking, is Joe Biden's mic on?
No, it will be off.
Well, that's going to be a boring debate.
Not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. So I don't think it's going to be boring at any means. I think that
How many debates are we going to have this year?
they're looking at 3. They've only announced 2 so far. So it will be this one, and September 10th is the next one, I believe.
And probably a vice presidential debate one.
Yeah, as soon as, I'm sure after the convention, when
They'll
Donald
figure it
Trump
out.
mentions
That's
it.
usually
But,
late. That's usually October.
and the next debate will be hosted by ABC,
It's September 9th. Yeah.
September 10th, I
Let
believe.
me think of all the people. We'll see. By who? ABC?
ABC, yeah.
I don't think CNN's tied to anybody. Okay, I was trying to figure out the major networks. So Fox is in the cold this year.
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
they're
That's
talking
true.
about a third debate, so, you know, sometimes they can get them in there, so.
I don't think it matters with those rules. I mean, are there moderators?
There's 2 moderators
Okay.
for CNN, Dana Bush and Jake Tapper.
Well, we all know Jake.
Yeah.
Jake's kind of an even keel guy.
He kind of has been. I mean, he's been very critical of Biden on his foreign affairs and things like that. So,
And he's been critical of Trump in the past. A little bit, right?
for me, I'm just expecting the worst. I mean, I don't think that it'll be fair by any means, but we'll see. Maybe maybe they'll surprise the world, and maybe the media, the mainstream media, has decided we're actually going to put the news out there and let people make their own decision instead of pushing an agenda.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice, but who would make money?
Walter Cronkite, but it's just different. It's like different people are paid almost to be antagonistic, like Stephen A. in sports. You know,
Yep.
he's always engaged.
And another interesting thing is they're not getting any opening statements.
What?
No opening statements is what I read this afternoon.
So they're going to. Let's role play this for 1 second. I come out. The first question of the night is, what is your position on the Gaza Strip, and do you support withholding supplies from Israel to stop the war, or withholding supplies from someone else? What is your feeling on the Gaza Strip? Now, what do I get after that?
I think whoever's time to answer that question will answer the question, and
2
then
minutes.
I guess it'll go on to the next
So
one.
he gets 2 minutes, and then how long does the other guy have to respond?
I'm guessing the same. I don't know.
Okay,
It didn't really give a time frame on what I was reading this afternoon.
Right.
I was just reading the I guess the requests that each campaign had
got it.
made. I assume.
I got how important do you think debate is? I'm not a big fan of debates.
I mean, for some people, it's pretty important. I think people that's already made up their mind. I don't think
Which
it's
is 90% of the people in this country.
yeah. I don't think it's important. I've already made up my mind. I'm just looking for a good show tonight. I mean, I'm looking to see if Biden can hold up for this entire debate.
I think Biden's health and his presentation, not what he says, and I think Donald Trump's temperament will be the 2 things that people look at.
I think that's what a lot of people are looking at, and I would hope that the Trump campaign has advised him on keeping your cool. A lot of the people that might be on the fence are looking at that and looking to see if he,
Well, I don't even think it's
goes-
as much cool as it is insulting and or criticizing someone else who's not part of the main debate. Like he says, well, that senator's this and that. And Biden will get into a little bit of that too. It's a one-way street. But obviously, we're on the defensive a lot.
Yeah.
In the media, when you're a Republican, you're on the defensive.
Absolutely.
A lot. I think so.
I agree.
I mean, that's why. Interesting. So tell me more about what you see tonight develop. Just kind of a little thing.
I think on Trump's side, he's going to hit Joe Biden on the foreign affairs. I think he's going to hit him on the economy.
Weakest area.
I think the economy is a big thing. I've got some inflation numbers. We'll read those just in a little bit. But I think one of the biggest things right now is immigration.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question. And people on the state and federal level that we'll call the red side, the Republican side, like our good friend John Reagan, these guys are constantly fighting against the Northern Federalist view of what we have to do and what we don't have to do.
Absolutely.
You've seen it in local government and different things.
Yes.
I mean, the woke consciousness of the federal government is interventionist in our way of life in Tennessee, and we look to Donald Trump and others to kind of stand up for that, I think.
Yeah, so I think that those are three big points that Trump can make. Now, on the Biden side, I think he's going to hit Trump on that he's a convicted felon, 34 counts.
You think he'll bring? You think?
I think that'll be one of the first things.
Would you go after that?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I think it's silly. I've told you, and I think I mentioned this on another show. Every person in America should be scared of what happened to Donald Trump.
I agree.
Because that could happen to any one of us at any given time.
Sure.
You could make a deal and a handshake with somebody, pay them $20, and they can come and say.
Well, how was it? 10-day trial, 7-day trial,
and
over what we would call Class A misdemeanor. Be misdemeanor.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people should be worried about that. If they're not, then they probably need to start, study the justice system. And I think he will bring that up. I think he's going to bring up a lot of the Donald Trump is attacking women's rights. I think he's going to bring up abortion issues. He's going to bring up the Roe versus Wade, because Trump, and it's no secret, when Trump went in and he said, if I get the chance to appoint Supreme Court justices, I'm going to put the ones in there that believe in the Constitution. So, I mean, he didn't hide anything. So he's put constitutional judges in there who read law and they know the law and they're upholding the law. So I think he's going to bring up the Roe versus Wade. And I think, if we're going to go back a little bit, I think he'll bring up COVID. I think he's going to say Donald Trump did not handle COVID very well.
Interesting.
I think that'll be something going on. And I don't think anybody handled COVID very well. I think no president, country, or anybody was expecting what happened to happen. He was listening to Dr. Fauci.
Not your biggest.
No, I'm not a fan of him at all. I think that he put our country backwards with a lot of his regulations that he suggested. Now he's realized, I think
we got scared. I talked to a lot of Republican clients and people, and everybody was scared of it. It was.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
You should be scared of it.
Yes,
yeah.
It was terrifying. It did kill people. It came fast, and it came with a vengeance. But at the same time, we shut our entire country down. Nobody knew what was going on. Fauci couldn't tell us what was going on. We were having these press releases. States were having press releases every afternoon. We were releasing COVID numbers. So it was a very scary thing. Our elders were in the hospital. We were putting them in, people in nursing homes with elderly people, and they were getting COVID and dying.
That was amazing.
That was
New York.
That was a travesty. You don't do that.
Yeah,
That common sense should have told him
Changed
not to
Kumo's
do
life,
that.
didn't it?
Yeah. And, our family members were in the hospital, and we couldn't even go visit them. It was like almost a lockdown facility, and they were depressed, and a lot of things went on with COVID, and I think they might hit Donald Trump on that, just his handling of that. Might bring up vaccines.
Try to, yeah.
The Biden campaign's pro-vaccine. Trump's do what you want. If you want to get vaccinated, do it. If you don't, don't.
Boy, the sports world sure backed up that. It was so funny. So many activists, so many players who are normally very progressive activist types just said, "You're not giving me a vaccine."
Yeah.
And before you got to page one, when we talk about that, now enters our third candidate, Robert Kennedy Jr. And I grew up, and I'll tell you flat out, Robert Kennedy. I'm the same age as his son. Robert Kennedy, when in the late 60s and mid 60s, when I was a teenager and early 70s, he was my favorite person by far in politics. Nobody came close to Robert Kennedy for me. Not John, not anyone else. Hubert Humphrey, obviously not Nixon and stuff like that. But we had Vietnam. But Robert Kennedy was he was an intense competitor. At the same time, he was a common source of healing. I could go on forever. But large family, prayed every night. He just kind of fit into my mold a lot. I like Robert Kennedy. I just think Robert Kennedy's out of his time, and it's not going to play, and he's got a few isolated issues. But he could be a spoiler. I still think
he could be a spoiler.
I poll for a living. You know
I mean, I can say this. A lot of Republicans that are not as hardcore as myself support Robert Kennedy
and
Jr.
Democrats.
Well, I'm talking about like Republicans, and I make the argument on either side.
Okay.
Regardless of whatever your political beliefs are, whatever you line up as. I line up as a really hardcore conservative. I'm always going to vote Republican. If I vote Democrat, you better go look at my tombstone. That's just the way I look
get
at
Betty
it.
Lou out, right?
Yeah. So, but I look at it, he's the spoiler. If you have more values with the Republican Party, but you don't like Trump, voting for Kennedy is not going to get Biden out. If you're worried about the economy and you're worried about where our country is going, but you don't like Trump because he puts out some mean tweets or he's a little aggressive in his words.
He stopped tweeting, honey. I didn't see anything in months.
Some things.
Okay.
But voting for Kennedy is not going to get the guy out that's causing your pocketbook to be empty.
Let me say
or
this
your
before we go to
gas
break.
tank to be empty.
I agree, but before I go to break, I have followed world politics for years, and in Italy and other places, not so much in England yesterday. There are 3 and 4 and 5 parties. There are not too solid. We
Yes.
have a tradition of a 2-party system.
Yeah.
But you go back to Ross Perot and you go back to Ralph Nader and other things, you will find out that we've had some spoilers. I mean, you go back to
Absolutely.
Rutherford B. Hayes era and all that. But I think this country's migrating towards a 3 or 4 party system. I just think that's who we are. But I think, and you know why? Because of this, I think there's too much information out there. My son and your son, our son, you know, I mean, he's a Vivek guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because he's all into all this stuff, and everybody says, I think it's going to go a lot of different ways. But right now, still, money wins elections.
Money wins elections.
What part of the world you're in, money wins elections.
Absolutely.
Or in some parts of the world, guns.
Yes.
But I think that we're going to see more diversity, and you're going to see more coalition governments building, and it won't be a all red or all blue. It'll go a different way. But I will say when I come back, I want to talk about this. I was always, you know, I want the best person. I'm more level. You know me. I'm not. But I've gotten to the point where I just can't even consider voting blue for anything. I haven't in 10, 12 years, but it's just even on local level. I mean, what they represent in the border crisis is inconceivable to me. Chandler, take us to a break.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Lock it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference, so we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. Let me say one more announcement. I got two of them in. Yesterday was my wife's 44th birthday.
Wow.
She's putting up with me, folks. I know my brother Mike Ritter's out there watching. Michael, I'm doing everything to keep her. I just want you to know that, Michael. Mike Ritter and my wife are very much alike in a lot of ways. I think the third-party evolution, and I think that it serves a purpose in my eyes. It holds the parties in check. If you go too far one way or the other and you have no answers, we're going to come out and we're going to try to create alternatives to what you're doing. So I'm kind of encouraged by Kennedy's candidacy, but I don't take it that serious.
No, I can't take it seriously. And
but you got a platform.
I don't see the three-party system coming in anytime soon. I think the ideal of a lot of people, they're fed up. They're fed up with the two-party system. They want to change. I mean, they're tired of this one way or the other. They want somebody to come in and care about the American people.
You said that the economy's bad.
The economy is
But
bad.
for a third of the people, it's booming. I mean, I have a friend who put $120,000 of his retirement in NVIDIA a year ago. It's worth $1.2 million. And I have other friends that are making tons of money in AI and other things. Other people, as we well know, can't get through the grocery line without having problems.
Yeah.
I bet I help one every 2 weeks somebody who can't pay their bill or they're struggling, and I'll pay their grocery bill. And I think that's part of it. So what we have is a kind of a polarizing economy. Mm-hmm. And the problem is, how big is each group? My question is, where do these zillionaires go? And perhaps some of them are friends of mine. Where do these wealthy people, we'll say $100 million or more, where do these people go? And there's thousands of them. The Republicans, the Democrats, they're looking for a place to go. Traditionally, they were always Republicans. Mm-hmm. A lot of wealthy liberals. And when we talk to finance in these campaigns, what we see is that normally the big money, California money, Hollywood money, the big money really goes to the Democrats traditionally in these campaigns, and they outspent. But after the Trump trial, which we'll get to, but after the Trump trial, you know, Trump raised $400 or $500 million in a blink of an eye, and it's about a $2 billion race, maybe $1.5 billion. But so, I mean, that just showed everybody a different thing. Because if you're a wealthy person and they took Trump through that trial, you next in line.
That's
now,
right.
Those guys are really, and women are really scared of this whole attitude of criminalizing the justice system. Comments?
Oh, absolutely. I've said it, many times. People should be scared of what happened to Trump.
The trial didn't fit the crime.
Regardless of how you feel about Trump,
Mm-hmm.
take your feelings out. And I always say, multiple times, I think I've said it here, nobody cares about your feelings. Take your feelings out.
Yeah, you do
and
say that.
think about your logic. Think about what is going on. Think about if that was your mother or your father up there on trial, and you would be saying it was a sham. So I think people put their feelings into something too much, and they don't realize what it could affect on somebody else that's close to them.
You and I know this, but we're in the political business, folks, but the Republicans, we have Republicans who are diehard conservatives, do not like the blue, do not like the Democrat, will vote red, but they do not like Donald Trump.
Yes.
I mean, they're vehemently against the man. There's a personal issue.
And that's what I was saying. I'm making the argument of they're wanting to vote for Robert Kennedy Jr. because he's the option.
Right.
There's no way that they're going to vote for Biden.
It's a throwaway.
But they're going to vote for Robert Kennedy Jr. That's just a wasted vote. And I don't ever encourage anybody to sit at home. I encourage everybody to get registered to vote.
And folks, let me just say this. In Tennessee, it all's washed out because Trump's going to win big.
Oh, he's going to win.
I mean, it's going to be
Tennessee.
65, 70% Trump. So your vote, I don't want to say it doesn't matter because it always matters, but your vote for Kennedy does not matter.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. We've got to keep things red on all levels. And
that's the argument I make is a vote for Kennedy is a wasted vote. If you do not like the policies and the way that our country is going under these 4 years of Biden, then why would you vote for Kennedy? You have to vote for the guy that has a chance to win. If you don't like the policies that Trump put into play and you don't think our economy deserves Trump and our country deserves Trump, then why would you vote for Kennedy when Biden's the guy that can come up against Trump? It doesn't make sense to me.
And let me say, I think that it's much bigger than that. I think that there is a global power, a force, Chinese mainly, others, who are infiltrating the United States. And I'm not being silly. I'm a very rational-based guy. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. But I think there is an attempt through illegal immigration and through other things and through wealth, because we can't save $1 and the Chinese save 15 cents every dollar they make, that basically their discipline and our lack of discipline, that basically we are on the defense. And the Democrats are a conduit to that issue. Not all Democrats, but the National Democratic Party is a conduit. They need illegal immigrants. They're bringing them in to push their globalization, that we're part of a global world. This is the only world I'm a part of, right here. This is it, right? Here's my pride flag. And, I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that basically it's not about whether you like Trump or like Biden or don't. They represent two competing philosophies. We're in a traditional mode, and they're in an expansive new vision of a world order that we've been told since we were kids is scary as heck.
Yeah, yeah. And we're seeing it. I hope that it doesn't go full force in my lifetime. I hope I'm going on to the glory land before then. But we're seeing more and more of it. I never thought, looking at my high school days, that I would be sitting talking about some of the things that are going on now, because that just wasn't thought of then. These woke ideas and things like that. And
how can we talk on this debate, which is the subject of this? How can we talk about anything but immigration? I campaign for a lot of different people around Tennessee, and everything I put out, you know me, everything I do is illegal immigration is a huge problem.
Absolutely.
And when I poll people across Tennessee and other areas, not many out of state, but a few, it comes back, what's your number one concern? Illegal immigration and the threats to our life are a concern.
Yes.
And that's why when you get stuff like concealed weapons and all that stuff, people are afraid. I'm not from that era. I'm not afraid. I mean, I may be stupid. I'm just not afraid. I think, that basically our life in Oak Ridge or Knoxville, except for the isolated incidents, probably, but not everywhere, and it's much worse other places.
Absolutely.
Thank God for the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
But you've been convinced for years that, what do you want for Christmas? A gun. What do you want for your birthday? A gun. I mean, you've been concerned that you want to be able to defend your family and yourself.
Absolutely, and I'm going to. 100%.
You hear that, Mike? She's going to.
My thing is, I don't care for you coming into the United States legally.
Yes.
There is a process. That process was set up many, many years ago for you to become a United States citizen. I have no problem with that. If you want to seek, your country is bad and you're trying to come over here and raise your children, I have no problem with you coming over here legally, paying taxes just like the rest of us, doing all the stuff that the rest of us do, get you a driver's license, because that's the biggest thing that we got going on right now, in our areas. No valid driver's license because they're not legal. They don't have a social security number. They don't. You don't know.
They can get an ID card, but
you don't know. Well, you don't know if they are who they are. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They could give you one name you don't know. There's no documentation to say who they are. So make it to where they have to pay these things. They have to pay taxes. They have to get a valid driver's license. They have to do X, Y, and Z to pay into the American system. But when you're coming over here and you're 23 years old with no family, with a backpack on your back, there's nothing that you're coming for other than to, we saw a camp that had an ISIS camp that was set up. I mean, there's no purpose in that.
And we're friends with Bill Haggerty. And Bill, we went to a briefing long ago. You were invited. I tagged along. Excuse me. But it's horrible. Much worse than you know.
Yes. And my thing is, whenever I talk about illegal immigration, I'm not talking about everybody loves Mexican food. Everybody loves it.
Oh, hard work. I mean, construction workers, our country
But
couldn't do without them.
they go to work, construction workers, they go to work all day long, and they're providing for their family, and they go home, and they're just glad to be here. That's not the people I'm talking about.
Well, you turn loose. If I'm a foreign country, I turn loose my criminals to go to other countries. I mean, that's simple. I don't want
But
them
we
in my
make it
country.
very hard for those people to become illegal. We need to help those people right now that are already here, that's been established. I mean, we go to Mexican restaurants every week, and we've seen these people 12, 15 years.
Construction.
Absolutely. They want to be a part of the American way. They do. They love this country. They love the people. They want to help the people. That's not the people I'm talking about.
30% of them aren't Mexicans. They're Chinese
that's right.
or Aryans or
But when you
Middle
talk
Easterns.
about it, most people immediately go to that.
Yeah, sure
That's what they go to.
And they should be here legally, too.
Yes.
But they're here.
Yes.
And
So-
they're working. And they're productive.
But what we're seeing is women getting assaulted and killed,
Terrible case in California.
Yes.
2 or 4 this last 2 or 3
children, at the hands of evilness
Yeah.
that came over here to do nothing but harm to people. They're savages. There's nothing else
And every
to call them.
society has that. And they're turning theirs
That's
loose on
right.
us. We have them, too.
There's-
We put ours in jail.
I mean, that's the only thing to call them is savages.
And you got to understand that illegal immigration, before we go to break, illegal immigration is an organized activity. It's not Cheech and Chong walking up on the hill with 5,000 people, great movie, and them just rushing the border. It's not. They're organized. They have cell phones. They have cash.
Yes.
They have information, maps. Hundreds and hundreds of these infiltrators are coming here with a plan. They're being planted in our country. Remember the old Russian movies when we were kids, or even when we were young adults, where they would have sleeper cells and they'd wake them up one day and they'd all take over? Well, they have a number of people. I think the Middle Easterners have done that. There are a number of people in this country who are legal, who are doing different things, who are not loyal to the United States of America.
No, they do not care.
We'll be right back. Another break. Chandler Jones.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
This is my husband, Alex Hussey. Alex is about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was point man in foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
Come on, Alex, take on this mountain. That's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
back on the air with Sabra Beauchamp, County Commissioner from the 7th District, which is Pine Valley, Highland View, and Glenwood. One of the most outspoken critics of spending, of wasteful spending and fiscal government. And we've talked a lot with her about that over the last 2 or 3 shows we've done in the last 2 or 3 months. But tonight we're talking about federal issues. You think inflation is a part of this debate? Okay.
I think it'll come up tonight. I think, how could it not? I mean, I can't go to the grocery store and get a buggy full.
I lived in a day when inflation was 13%, 12%, and we were all panicking because of oil. I think it's a supply chain problem. I can't buy anything. You can't get electrical panels for a year. You can't get this. You go buy. I pay fence posts to put election signs on. You see them. When we bought fence posts last year, 2 years, of course, last cycle, we got them for $422 to $388 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm paying right at $620 for the short ones, at $9 for the tall. So it's about 40%.
Yeah.
And that's because we're not moving as much.
And most things are like that. Most things are around that range.
It's got to be a labor problem, though. Supplies or labor. I don't see where the inflation is. I mean, if I only get 4 fence posts to sell rather than 8, I got to charge more. I can't get my store if I don't charge more because they're in greater demand. I don't know whose fault that is. It's got to be tied to Biden, I think. You hit him. It's the old thing. Whoever's in the job when it happens,
they take the blame.
That's correct.
I mean, if the Democrats are going to make Trump take the blame for his negligence on COVID, then they have to take the blame for the inflation.
2020, he went out. What was inflation?
Inflation in 2020 was 1.2.
Wow. Gasoline was $1.90.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good selling point.
Yeah.
That's a good selling point for President Trump.
And I think Trump has that argument of the economy was booming, COVID hit out of his hands, but the economy was doing good. People were doing good.
But the bill that basically Joe Biden's done a poor job of managing the economy.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I would go for. I'm hoping the Trump team, shout out people, you can get me on board. I'll help coach him. I'm hoping that they have coached him enough to stay calm and cool and collective.
Is that what people want? That's the question.
Well, I think it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm hoping, Trump likes UFC. I'm hoping he goes out there and
just throws Biden off the phaser. Yeah.
It makes him tap out. But that's not what's going to happen. I hope he stays calm, cool, and collected, shows that he's I think 90 minutes of Biden is not going to hold up.
You think he's going to physically decline during the debate?
Possibly. I mean, they've had him hit out at Camp David for over a week, briefing him and coaching him on what he needs to say.
That's not abnormal for presidents.
Well, Trump was at not debates, but rallies, Trump rallies. So
yeah, he's a talker. He's like me. I prepare for a speech
he's been
1 minute.
Traveling everywhere. So
if I go talk on something that has to do with politics or America or political stuff, I prepare for 1 minute. I've been doing this stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
I just will go what comes to my hip. I know the basic things.
Well, Joe Biden's been doing this for a long time too. He's spent his whole career.
It's so ironic because he was such a tough guy in the 80s and 70s. He was a Clintonite, but he was tough. I mean, he was pro-cop, not tough on crime, and now it's just gotten too soft. But as much as Joe Biden's 40, 50-year career is it can be notable and positive and negative, he's just not in control anymore.
No. I don't think he is. And I say this to you all the time. If that was my grandfather, I would be feeling awful. Like, it's sad to some point. He's reading a teleprompter. He's reading the word pause instead of pausing. A lot of people seem to not care. They seem to be like, oh, okay, well, he's still my president.
Because it's not about him. It's about the policies.
That's right. So I think it's pitiful at this point. I think, and I said this before, the Democrats have a wide list of people that they could have put forth this time. They don't want a Hakeem Jeffries. They don't want a Gavin Newsom because those people are more independent on themselves. They're going to control what they want to do. Yeah. The bodies that be is not going to control them.
Are they going to have telemonitors?
No.
No telemonitors?
No, and they can't have earpieces in their ear.
Joe's got problems.
Yeah, so.
Trump may get angry, but Joe may start talking about something.
Well, Biden could get angry too. We've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it before. When he gets frustrated, he can become very angry with his "come on, man" and "shut up, man." So I mean, we've seen it before. When he becomes frustrated, he has a little angry,
WWF tonight, maybe.
a little angry side to him too. So it's something me and Caleb have been looking for forward to for weeks.
That's you guys.
We have been waiting
These
for
are
this
two
debate.
that watch wrestling and UFC every weekend. You know, I'm in the back.
We love it.
Yeah, I get it.
But I'm also excited that our 18, almost 19-year-old son is actually interested in this debate tonight, and he wants to watch it.
And had much choice.
Well, that's true. I mean, he's been raised in it. But that's one thing I would like to see is more. I know Lucas Heaton is the chairman of our Young Republican Party, and he's been trying to get more young Republicans energized in voting in our elections. So young people out there, if you're a Republican and you're for Trump, reach out to Lucas Heaton. He's on Facebook, and they have meetings every month. And just be a part of something.
I'd say the same for the Democrats. Be involved no matter what you do.
Yeah, that's my thing.
I mean, I think
get out and vote.
I've never seen any young people in the Democratic Party.
And I see people all the time, like we see this in campaigns. We get to March elections, and then we get to our August elections, and then we get to November, and there's this huge vote. There's a huge vote for president.
But there's a reason, and the reason is I'm in the business. The reason is in March you have very little television. In August you have zero television.
I understand that.
If Chuck Fleischman was running against Weston Wamp, again, like 10 years ago, there would be 12,000 votes.
Absolutely.
Right. But there's going to be 6 because nobody cares.
But I also make the argument to everybody, federal government is going to do what it wants to do. It's all about who has the most money, and they're going to get elected. That's just basically the way it is. These PACs pour millions of dollars in, flood you with the mailers and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But your local elections, that's what impacts you. That's what impacts your property taxes. That's what impacts your zoning issues, your school board. That's what impacts what your kids get taught. Those elections should be more important, I think.
Are there any educational issues that could come up tonight in the debate?
I don't see it.
Vouchers, but that's really a state issue.
I don't think that it'll come up. Trump, I think Trump wants to leave a lot of things to the states.
Yes.
Which I absolutely love.
Yes.
If your state wants to do it, put it on the ballot and let the people vote.
And the argument has always been, when I was a little kid, the states held that argument because they wanted to promote segregation or they wanted to promote some kind of hate issue. And the bottom line is there are central issues, there are federal issues that the federal government, Bobby Kennedy did, step in and make sure that people are being treated fairly, civil rights.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that goes to your, again, let's say it's a death penalty case, that's state to state. If you appeal it, the Supreme Court gets to weigh in and make sure it's where it needs to be.
There's a whole process.
But you shouldn't be weighing in on what does my form say? I don't need that. I don't need you to tell me what kind of forms to fill out. How do we do things at school?
And to me, that's very annoying. Like anytime you go to the doctor now, you have to, what do you identify as? Well, what the heck do I look like?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get that stuff. I'm never going to get that stuff.
That's my point. I don't have any issues with those individuals who identify with that identity. I have issues with the federal government's trying to create.
They're trying to force it on us.
Well, on us and them. They're trying to create, like you look at the LGBT movement, I'd say Trump's got a third of them. I mean, they like Trump. Trump was always.
Well, and he's trying to protect those
in
individuals.
New York City, he always has. That they're not to be on here. That's not the issue. They're not a campaign issue. But you get issues where they want to force. Now we're way past LGBT.
Yes.
Well, at least gay rights. Everybody recognizes it. Everybody I know that's 18 to 21 works for me, kids. No issues. We saw that in our family. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But what they do care about, and if they are religious and they do the right things and they don't recognize that, they don't push it on people. So I don't know. I think some of those federal issues, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what comes up. What pushes numbers tonight?
Yeah.
That's the question.
And I think Biden will do a lot of that stuff of the woke because he's kind of losing that basis of people. I think he'll do a lot of that. I'm going to protect your rights. I'm going to protect it. I don't need you to protect it. I just need you to go. That's the way. I mean, that's just me on that. So I think they might hit Trump on some of that stuff, transgender stuff. But even then, Trump thinks that it should be left up to the states. If Tennessee doesn't want to provide gender-affirming care, then Tennessee should say, we're not providing it. I fully believe
go to another state.
That states should be in control of that stuff.
Donald Trump is to politics what Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
Yes.
He's the superstar. Everybody wants to. They don't like him. They don't like him, but everybody goes to the games. And that's why CNN wants to work this out, because it's big money, it's big reviews. And I don't. But here's the story, folks. One's 81 or whatever, another one's 78. This is the last hurrah. It's the third time we've seen Gone with the Wind, but this is it.
Yes.
This is it. The loser's gone. The winner will be gone in 3 or 4 years, I maybe earlier. But the point is that then we'll see a whole new way. I encourage people to watch. We're going to come back from our final break. We're going to talk about the vice presidential options for President Trump. And we're going to talk about whether we think there's any possibility that they'll slide somebody in over Joe Biden. Back in
Oak Ridge, Tennessee, ID3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. ID3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Like it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference, so we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Beauchamp back with Sabra Beauchamp, and we're talking about the final chapter of the debate in the VP. We're going on to VPs now. I haven't watched this since the early days. I have one of my favorite vice president debates is when Eagleton looked at the Republican, I believe it was the Indiana governor, but I can't remember. But they hit him because he had had psychiatric treatment in college, and it was 40 years ago, and, some kind of condition. It was treated, and he turned in the middle of the vice president. But I've been certified sane. I've been certified sane. You have not. I mean, something like that. That was a great line. The greatest debate line of all. Before I finish, I'll forget. Nixon and both of them were good talkers. Nixon was a trial lawyer, but Kennedy was just smooth. And they got on there, and the energy went back and forth. And here's what Kennedy said. He said, Richard Nixon is the kind of man who would cut down a tree, stand on the stump, and give you a speech about conservation. I remember I thought, 5 years old, I thought that was great. That's the kind of stuff that inspired me to get in this business, but that was really great. But this is a year where I think a VP pick is important. I mean, I think if Biden remains the nominee, and we'll get to that, Kamala Harris's strength in California politics and across the country and in the money circles kept her in the game because she knows she'll probably be president before 4 years are up. I think so. I mean, can you see Joe Biden at 85 or 86? I just don't see it. And the second thing, I think whoever Trump picks, and I've said from the beginning that I think it needs to be a woman, but now I'm at the point, and then I think really J.D. Vance is such a strong candidate. I'm going to roll with Vance. You and our son, like Vivek, but I don't think he adds much to the ticket. It energizes young people who don't vote. But Vance is a great debater, 39 years old, the youngest guy being considered, and he's well loved by the Midwesterners where Trump needs to win states. So I think the vice presidential pick for the Republicans is very important.
I agree. I think it is very important. You know, I also said that it needed to be a woman just as far as competition. I'm available.
Sabra threw her name in the hat, Mike.
Call me. But there's not a lot of women in politics. There's just not. And, you know, we had talked about this on another show. I think probably my first show with you on here is look in Nashville. There's not a lot of women in politics. Now, in Anderson County government, we are doing it over there. So, you know, mayor's a woman. We got several women on county commission. We got Miss Regina Copeland, who's our trustee. So,
and my second favorite commissioner, Shelley Vandergrift.
Yes. So, very proud of Anderson County that we're not living in old times
Denise
where
Palmer,
men are supposed to.
Denise, and there's a lot of them. I think there's four. Is there 5 or 4?
Of us women?
Yes.
There's me and Shelley and Denise.
No, there's one more. Is that it?
Yeah.
3 people?
Yeah.
I thought we had a 4th one.
No.
Wow. You think Biden's old. But anyway, I mean, you know, the whole point, I thought there was one more. I thought we had 4 women, but 3. 3 out of 16, we're working at what, 20%? That's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than what it was 10 years ago. It was all men sitting up there.
Women are smart. And you talk about Nashville and Washington, women are smart enough not to. They get treated differently. I mean, well, you may or may not like the Tulsi Gabbards, and who's the lady that won last night that you're not a big fan of in Colorado?
Lauren Boebert.
Lauren's coming back. She won her primary. 90% she'll come back. It's harder for them. It's harder. And, you know, what happens to the men who hold out and shut down government and are heroes to East Tennesseans but not nationally? You know, you can't get stuff done. So I don't know. I think it's Vance. The governor of Iowa's a sharp guy, but he's 60-something. He really didn't bring any energy to it. It's Vance, I think, and then you got Rubio, who I think does bring value with Hispanics, but he would have to move real quick, and they're not going to go through all that.
Yeah.
So Vance looks like the winner to me. Vivek, go make your opportunity for Vivek.
Well, you know, I didn't even think about him until Caleb kind of put me over on him, and then I started listening to him. Very young, very energetic, knows how to make money, is doing very well in making money. He, even during the debates, he never wavered on Trump. He was always very positive of Trump and the economy and things like that. Yeah. So, you know, I would tell Caleb no chance that he wins, and he didn't. He got out. But
and folks, there's no chance he's going to be the VP.
Well,
I'm on camera. No chance.
Well, I did a little stuff. Now, I think.
Tell me why.
I think Rubio is in the running. I think.
I do too.
You know, and he can relate to those Hispanics and Cubans.
Arizona, Nevada. He gets some help out there.
Rubio is 53 years old, and the one thing that Trump likes more than anything, money.
Well, I think I'm not sure Donald Trump wants any competition. I don't think a high-profile guy.
Well, I don't think it's about competition. It's for the American people, it's if Trump doesn't make it through 4 years because of his age, who's going to take over? And it's got to be somebody that is not just going to be in the same boat. So I think for people to feel comfortable with voting for Trump, that's not. I'm not saying it's not young. I'm just saying that that's the age stuff that you want to get into.
But the average president's usually in their 60s. Okay, so that's a good age.
So, well, maybe we need to start changing things around a little
Teddy
bit.
Roosevelt was 43. John Kennedy was 43.
Yeah, I mean,
come on. There's
so
a lot
maybe
of young
we
people.
need to come backwards a little bit.
And why are older people more likely to be elected than younger people? Because you and your family have had more money. You have more money at 65. You've made a lot of money. You've made a lot of friends.
Yeah. So
you're able to finance stuff.
Yes. So Rubio is not worth a lot of money. maybe around 1.2 when
That's
he sells
nothing.
some stuff off. So that's nothing. Vance, I started looking at him. 30,
5 to 10
yeah,
million.
senator from Ohio. He is worth $5 million, 39 years old.
Could be worth
So he's in that younger bracket that could come in. I mean, he's already a senator. Then you got the governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum.
Iowa, right? I mean,
No, North Dakota. He's the governor of North Dakota.
I thought it was Iowa. Okay.
No, and he's worth $100 million, but he's 67 years old. Very smart guy.
Yeah.
All these Republicans, by the way, and then you got Vivek, who is worth $800 million, and he is 38 years old.
But so is Randy Boyd and Senator Bill.
No,
Haggard.
they're not that young. They're not that young.
Well,
so
that's a good point.
my thing
That's
is,
a good point. That's a good point.
if you're looking for somebody to energize that younger base who's tending to be, constantly,
On the
I
phone.
call it brainwashed
These people, I got it.
by this social agenda and everything else, then you put somebody in here that these young people can relate to.
They ain't going to vote. They can't even get out of their bedrooms.
My son, who's 18 years old, is not going to relate as much to a 70-year-old as he is the 38-year-old. He's going to relate to that 38-year-old that's going to...
How old's Vivek?
38.
Yeah, and Vance is 39.
39.
So those two are in the mix. Yeah.
So I think if we're going to try to turn it around as Republicans to get more young people energized and get them to understand we want low taxes, we want the government staying out of our life, we don't want them telling us what to do, I think that we're going to have more younger people running in the Republican eras to tell these young people, get out and vote. Stand up for what you believe in, because right now we got a bunch of old people out here telling us what we're supposed to do. And I say old people, and I'm old, but
I resemble that remark.
well, I'm just saying. So
Yeah, but older than me,
we've
yeah.
not done a good job in the Republican Party. We've done a good job of keeping our people that are in there
And what if I said
staying
for
right.
5
But
years?
we have not done a good job of getting our younger people energized and becoming a Republican while the Democrats are all over
What
it.
have I said, and we've done it in county government, we've worked hard, but what have I said we need for 5 years? We need women and we need young people.
Yeah.
In our whole country.
And I appreciate that.
No, I understand it. I understand. I have more wisdom and more experience than somebody that's 45 years old, and I get that. But I'm not going to live that much longer, and we need people who can
Yes.
get experience,
That's
that
right.
can get wisdom.
That's right.
And they need to
And
get
a lot
out.
of people disqualify a 38-year-old. They say, oh, they don't have enough life experience. Well, when you make $800 million, you're
got some
doing
experience,
something
yeah.
right.
That's right.
So my thing is, if we're wanting to get our younger base energized and we're wanting to keep the Republican Party going on and we're trying to save our country and we don't want what's going on, then we have got to start having some ideas of some
You know
younger
what
people
saved
coming
the
in.
Republican Party, too, a lot of it is that the traditional millionaires and billionaires were Hollywood, were other industries, and they tipped to be more liberal, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Then Elon Musk comes in, and the NVIDIA guys,
Tears
and
it
they
all up.
and they look around, they got more money all put together,
Yeah.
and says, I like Trump. He's free. He'll let me do what I want to do, my boss. So
Yeah.
he comes in. So all of a sudden, he takes Twitter over and shuts down the Democrat. I
Yeah.
mean, just a lot going on, and Elon's 50-something.
And a lot of these younger kids are seeing that,
Yeah.
and they appreciate that, what Elon has done. So I think more and more younger people are starting to wake up, and they're not fearful anymore of standing up on college campuses for what they
Absolutely.
believe in. But if we continue down this path of that 70 and older and them trying to tell these young people what to do, we're going to lose them in the Republican Party.
Well, they'll take over by attrition, but they won't assimilate in. You're right. Real quick, tell Mike Rutter you love him.
I love you, Mike. Hope you're feeling better.
I hope you're feeling better, Mike. We're getting everything together. We got lots of things going. Anybody in county government, anything we need to talk about? Anybody who needs our prayers or is hanging out there?
Well, I think everybody does.
Well, the sheriff does. The sheriff of Morgan County, please.
Absolutely.
Please, Wayne
Pray for
Potter.
Wayne Potter.
He's sick, and he needs your prayers. And please pray every day for Wayne. We really need it. And I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
You going to buy dinner?
No, you are.
I'm buying dinner. I figured that much. She's the boss. She's a superstar. She's exactly what we need. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week with another show at 7 o'clock Thursday night.